What's going on, Zombie Slayers? I'm Ducky and welcome to something that has given Xbox a massive boost in the console war. And we're in the 7th, 8th generation of consoles now. They're the two that we're playing our games on, and obviously some are going to be better than the others, especially the ones in a certain generation. However, we all know that the PS4 did have an advantage over the Xbox One. It could run games somewhat better, and during a recent hacking at Christmas by the group H4LT, they leaked some of the information from Microsoft, and the information they released or leaked out was that we're getting more power packed into the Xbox One, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit more detail later on. So both next-gen consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One, have 8 core processors in them. If you don't know what different core processors does, it just allows them to execute more tasks at the same time, things like that. What you can actually do is go down to, if you're using a Windows computer right now to watch this, right click on the very bottom bar or on the Windows button, click Start Task Manager, and then head over to the tab that says Performance, and you can actually see what all your cores are actually doing on your computer at this time. And these all have 8 cores in them. My processor also has 8 cores in them, and basically 6 of them were available to developers to run their games from. So on the PS4 and the Xbox One, 6 of these cores were open to developers. 6 out of the 8 they could use to run the game, so they could limit it to the power of those 6 cores in the processor. But the other 2 were used for the operating system, or the kind of background processes, things such as running your friends in your group chat, the voice commands on the Xbox One, things like that. That's what the other 2 processors were for. But what Xbox are doing now, or Microsoft are doing, they're actually opening up this 7th core, and they're giving developers the chance. This has happened since October, but it hasn't been made public apart from these leakings, that 50 to 80% of this 7th core are now open to developers. But of course this doesn't come without a cost. They can't just suddenly open this, because they have to sacrifice some of the background processes. So what they're actually doing is they're limiting what developers can do. Okay, they've opened up more cores, but they can't have as many voice commands for that specific game. So that's what is limited. But yeah, this could give Xbox or the Xbox One an advantage over the PlayStation 4. And within terms of Black Ops 3, what Treyarch could be using to develop this, and they probably will utilize this too, is they could have textures loading faster. A texture is basically kind of a pattern you will see on the wall or something in the distance that is low resolution, but once you get close it will then become higher resolution and in higher detail, such as the big wall on Ascension. If you run up to that, then that will suddenly appear in higher definition. We could have more zombies spawned in at a time on Xbox One. We could have more weapons within the box, and also we could have a greater atmosphere, so we could have more particles flying around it, a lot of things, etc, etc, loads of things we could have. However, what we have to consider is the reason they probably did this was to catch up with the PS4, perhaps overtake it, but remember the Xbox was behind the power of the PS4, so what they could be doing is just doing this to catch up. So we don't know which platform's going to be able to run it better, but from previous games it does look like the PS4, although they will tell you it is the Xbox One. But we don't know until we get it. And my source for this is Eurogamer.net. The link is in the description if you want to read the full article, and I'll see you all next time.